Welcome to the new episode of PlayStation Console Gaming News. It's been a packed week, so let's quickly go over the main events. Today's topics: the recent state of play and its reveals, the inevitable shortage of the PlayStation 5 Pro, Sony admitting that digital purchases are licenses, not ownership of games, a bundle of free benefits themed around The Last of Us, the announcement of Ghost of Tsushima 2, and much more. So get comfortable, grab a snack, and let's dive in. On September 26th, Sony opened pre-orders for a new limited edition PlayStation 5 console celebrating the 30th anniversary of PlayStation. Everything seemed fine at first, with the bundle priced at €1,100 for the European market, including an additional charging station and a DualSense Edge controller. But here's the catch: in order to secure a pre-order and hand over your hard-earned €1,100, you had to spend hours on the official PlayStation Direct website, constantly refreshing the page, hoping for a quick chance to place your order. Why did this happen, you might ask? The answer is simple. First, the limited edition run consisted of just over 12,000 units. Second, no sooner had the pre-orders opened than listings for this bundle flooded eBay, but at double the price, starting at €2,000. Once again, scalpers decided to crash the market and cash in on the fans. Whether people are willing to spend €2,000 or more remains a mystery. After all, in this generation, you can customize your console with replaceable panels which, if not yet available on Amazon or other marketplaces, will surely be there soon. Sure, the console won't have the limited edition label, but otherwise it will look the same. Customizing the DualSense controller will be a bit trickier, but I think that design will be available separately for anyone interested, so tell us in the comments, would you pay €2,000 for a limited edition PS5? The remake of Silent Hill 2 is coming to PC. This announcement was made by the Bloober Team studio. According to the developers, they almost had to fight with Konami to make it happen. Apparently, the Japanese company is primarily focused on PlayStation, but the creators are confident that the franchise will also succeed on other platforms. Interestingly, even though the game is supposed to be released in just a week due to a mistake or the negligence of some disc retailers, players have already been able to purchase the physical edition. As a result, spoilers have already begun appearing online, so be careful, but what kind of spoilers can there be for a 20-year-old game, you ask? Surprisingly, quite a few. In addition to familiar elements of the classic Silent Hill 2, players are noticing new content with some surprises. So if you don't want to spoil your playthrough, stay alert. It's not exactly the biggest news of the week, but still worth mentioning. As part of the annual The Last of Us Day celebration, Sony has generously added the remake of the first game to the PlayStation Plus Extra library. Unfortunately, this bonus skips over all PlayStation 4 users, which is still quite popular. Expect a review of it on the channel soon, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. For those who own a PlayStation 5 and haven't played this decade-old hit yet, it's a great chance to either experience it for the first time or replay it again. Also, not a huge deal, but until October 26th, you can claim 3 free-themed avatars for your PlayStation Network account. To take advantage of this offer, you'll need to activate one of the 3 codes currently shown on your screen in the PlayStation Store. Hurry! You have until October 26th. And now it's time for the most important event of the week for the PlayStation community. Sony held a State of Play presentation that lasted only half an hour. For most of the community, it was marked by the unofficial announcement of the Ghost of Tsushima 2, the rumored Horizon Zero Dawn remaster that insiders have been talking about recently, and the release of a new color palette for the PlayStation 5. Of course, there were also releases from third-party studios, which we'll discuss in more detail a bit later. What didn't happen, though, was the presentation of the Days Gone remake. According to insiders, the announcement was ready, but was delayed to avoid overwhelming players with too many remakes, especially considering the lack of new exclusives. However, the same insiders claim that the announcement will still happen, just outside of the State of Play framework. As soon as it does, I'll be sure to share the news. Owners of the recent PlayStation 5 exclusive Astro Bot will receive free DLC this fall, featuring 5 new levels and 10 new bots. Another PlayStation 5 exclusive, Stellar Blade, hasn't been left out either. A photo mode is now available, and a free DLC with a cameo from B2 of Nier Automata has been announced. The most disappointing part of the entire State of Play presentation is related to the new PlayStation 5 games, as the lineup, to put it mildly, was not impressive. A few projects from PlayStation Studios, Final Fantasy, and that's about it. However, we hope the list will grow, and only in a positive direction. And since we're talking about supported games for the Pro version, the PlayStation Store has started labeling games that feature enhancements for the PS5 Pro. As far as I understand, this will now be a mandatory requirement. It doesn't matter if you buy games from the digital store or purchase physical discs, the label should indicate the overall improvements in the game, such as higher resolution or frame rate. The long-awaited goal of Sony Studios, the so-called Ghost of Tsushima 2, will now be titled Ghost of Yotei. Here are the first details about the new PlayStation 5 exclusive. The protagonist is a female character named Atsu, who is making her way to Mount Yotei. The events take place in 1603 in northern Japan. The developer is once again Sucker Punch, the same studio behind the first game in the series, and yes, I didn't misspeak. Sony plans to turn Ghost into an entire game series with multiple titles. But let's get back to Yotei. It has been revealed that the heroine will use not only the classic samurai weapon, the katana, but also a pistol. The game was specifically designed for PlayStation 5, not for both generations of consoles, which allowed the developers to make the graphics and world as realistic as possible, pushing them to a new level. The designers have completely reworked the cloud system. When looking up, players will be able to see the northern lights or twinkling stars. Grass will sway more realistically in the wind, and the locations will be different from those in the previous game. Since the action takes place in Hokkaido, Ghost of Yotei will also feature tundra landscapes. In short, if they don't mess up the story or make the gameplay too repetitive, this will be a must-play game. PlayStation fans have come up with some interesting analysis, calculating how much each PlayStation console would cost today after adjusting for inflation. And the most expensive device in history turned out to be the PlayStation 3, which would cost $780 today. In second place is the PlayStation 5 Pro, priced at $699 for the US market. And in third place, can you guess? The original PlayStation at $617. The issue of pricing is crucial for gamers. It's immediately clear that the trend shows the best-selling console in PlayStation history, the PlayStation 2, would cost $546 today, while the PlayStation 4 would be $540, so the price range seems to hover around $550. Are gamers willing to spend over $700 just for a console? That question remains open for now. Somewhat unexpectedly for many players, Ubisoft announced that they will skip the Tokyo Game Show 2024 presentation. There wasn't much specific explanation, and just a few days later, Ubisoft confirmed that Assassin's Creed Shadow has officially been delayed to February 14th, 2025. The company stated they needed additional time to polish the project. Ubisoft also decided to abandon the Season Pass model for the game. The first expansion will be free for all who pre-order on the available platforms. This sets up an unofficial showdown between two gaming industry giants, Ubisoft and PlayStation, over who will release the better Japan-themed game in 2025. Feel free to share your predictions in the comments. Game analysts note that Astro Bot is the fastest-selling original platformer since Mario in the last 10 years. Astro Bot had a very strong start, performing much better than Ratchet & Clank, Rift Apart, and Crash Bandicoot 4. The key to its success was the high quality of the product, as well as a well-executed and large-scale marketing campaign worldwide. Analysts also mentioned that if Astro Bot maintains strong sales momentum, the company might consider a sequel, though it's unlikely to be released on the current generation of consoles. Some very interesting news has come from sunny California. Sony may be forced to acknowledge that players don't actually buy digital games, but only license them. California recently passed AB 2426, a law requiring digital stores to inform customers that they are licensing the product, not purchasing it. The company will be obligated to notify that the player is buying a license that can be revoked at any time, or else Sony could be fined for false advertising. This serves as yet another confirmation that when you buy any digital game, you're essentially renting it. At any moment, for instance, you could be banned or have your account deleted, and you'd have to say goodbye to all your games. Konami has showcased 11 minutes of new gameplay from the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, recorded at Tokyo Game Show. The gameplay highlights impressive graphics, attention to detail, and, importantly, in today's gaming landscape, localization will be available. Another piece of good news comes from Hideo Kojima. Death Stranding 2 is set to release in 2025, with no plans for delays. This suggests the game is either nearly finished or in its final stages of development. He also explained why he didn't entrust the adaptation of Death Stranding to Hollywood studios and instead chose the independent studio A24, known for films like Midsommar and Civil War. According to Kojima, he wanted something unconventional, and A24, known for its auteur approach, seemed like the perfect choice. The game designer is actively involved in the film's production, serving as a consultant and producer, but not as the director. I can hardly imagine the impact the release will have, with two visionary teams working on the adaptation. I'll take the liberty of saying that Sony pleased PlayStation Plus subscribers with the initial lineup for October 2024. In the first PlayStation Plus update, available across all subscription tiers, they included Dead Space Remake, WWE 2K24, and Doki Doki Literature Club, an interactive and immersive reading experience. So on the day this video comes out, namely Tuesday, October 1st, if you have a subscription, you can download and enjoy the presented lineup. HBO has released the first 2-minute trailer for the second season of The Last of Us, which will premiere in 2025 and consist of 7 episodes. Earlier, Craig Mazin stated that the material from The Last of Us Part 2 could be stretched across several seasons due to its size. Neil Druckmann also mentioned that at least one cutscene from the game will appear in the second season, which viewers will discover during the show. Let's just hope it's not another scene with that same agenda, you know what I mean. Well friends, thanks everyone for watching. That's all the news for today. So subscribe so you don't miss the next update. See you soon!